We've heard drones mentioned a few times today. How are you using drones and different technology that you've implemented in your business to really help that front end of that sales process and really just help with that speed to install? Brad?
Yeah, great question. I mean, for us, the drone has been a somewhat new solution over the past few years. Um, and it's really the one thing that we've gone back and forth with doing rep surveys and things like that, and it was tough to kind of collect all the information. And so the drone kind of gave us a really good middle point. There's instances where the homeowner's not there, we can't always get into the house. And so being able to go out, fly the drone potentially when the customer's not there, it gives us a lot of that information really, really quickly. For us, it not only sped up the survey time, but it reduced the amount of time that we were on site, which then opens the calendar to then add additional surveys. So that was probably the main increase in speed that we've seen is just opening up our survey calendar and kind of creating more availability. For our design side, Scanifly has been a great tool for us. Our design team utilizes a lot of the platform inside Scanifly to place modules and to essentially cut out an additional step that we used to take previously. We would take Scanifly in, import that, use a different design software to kind of essentially get a layout for that customer. And we've started to do that all within Scanifly's tool. And so it's saved us time not only in the field surveying, but also on the back end on our actual design and configuration of the system.
Very cool. On average, how many days would you say that it's really taken off of your timelines with implementing that?
Yeah, I mean, it saves us probably 20 or 30 minutes per design, as far as our guys going through it, which adds maybe one or two designs to them per day. And then the site survey calendar, I think it changes based on, kind of the seasonality, but it's allowed us to really, I mean, some of our surveyors are doing 2 or 3 times the amount of appointments that they were doing previous. And so it's just allowed us to do a lot more with less, and just to really have more availability. A lot of our surveys, when they're getting scheduled at time of sale, we're able to put them on within 24 or 48 hours. It's normally pretty rare that we're going beyond that. And I know that's always been a really big focus of ours is to make sure that we can, when the sales reps calling in, that we can not only provide a date, but provide a date that's reasonably close, hopefully within that 24 to 48 hours.
No, that's awesome too, especially something like that to save on not only time, but also the economic piece as
Yeah.
well. Dylan, what about you?
For us, we have a large sales group in Pennsylvania, and one of the pain points we had was 2 and 3 story homes. So we get that in Illinois as well. But one of the big things for us where the drone came in place is when you got to get up on a roof and measure it, and it's 2 or 3 story house, takes you a lot longer, right? And so like when you can knock that out in 30 minutes instead of 2 hours or whatever that may take in order for them to get up and actually map that whole system out on a roof, as well as even having the people that want to do it, right? So like we actually went through a little bit of a painful period where we couldn't get some surveys done in that market because we couldn't get any. We were trying to hire people, we couldn't even get anybody that want to get on a 3 story roof. So having that drone, it definitely helped, as well as we have our own in-house design team as well. And so by utilizing DXF files directly that are accurate with the drone right out the gate and building our CAD from that. I think right now we're down to about 15 minutes of plan set with our templates and pulling DXF to create those plan sets. So I mean, if we're doing, I want to say we were doing 35 a day with excuse me, versus 15 a day prior to using the drone. Yeah, I think that's where we're at right now, 35 a day versus 15 a day per person. So it's a big difference.
Wow, that's a huge difference. Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been utilizing drone technology for about 4 years now. We've used 3 different kind of major platforms. Lastly, and currently with Scanifly, right? One of the things that we've done also as a test is we're also measuring accuracy, right? So a lot of the time what we're doing is we're benchmarking candidly the drone companies against each other, right? So who has the most accurate platform? And so thus far we found, and the reason that we are with Scanifly is thus far when benchmarking against the other competitors, Scanifly has been the most accurate. One of the things that we really also are consistently doing is how do we get better, right? So in flying kind of the drone, of course, it has increased throughput and reduced cost for sure. And it has enabled kind of our template on the design side to be much more efficient. But we're also using that technology and that information to improve our proposal accuracy, right? Not only with our proposal actual techs and people who are creating the proposal, but also pushing the technology of the different proposal platforms, right? Hey, did you know that we've rendered a 3D model of the home, and really your platform is saying that X should happen when in fact Y should, right? So really continuing to collaborate with the technology platforms across the industry to level up really accuracy across all measures and really across all different platforms. So we've been using Scanifly to spearhead that. I think the one thing that I'm encouraged by, the Scanifly team is their continued effort on how they want to, increase their offering, better their platform, right? And some of that, is also attributed to kind of Michael and the team, but now using thermal imagery, right? Like, how do you leverage the thermal technology to look for potential roof damage, roof leaks, things of that nature, all exist kind of within the Scanifly platform. So we're leveraging and using that continuously as well. And then how do we integrate the technology that Scanifly has into the financing platform, right? So, been working and having a lot of feedback there, and how do we utilize that in the different quoting platforms that are now being required or being used by the different financing arms, right? And so I'm excited. I think lastly, Scanifly continues to be a very receptive partner in feedback, right? You can have a conversation today and there's a roadmap, a week or two later about what potentially they can do to improve their technology and answer kind of the call. So one of the things that I would implore all people, sales or operations, is if you see a gap, if you see an opportunity for improvement, get in communication with Scanifly. And my experience thus far is they will feverishly work and quickly work to basically either resolve or improve the technology to address the concern that you have, right? And so I've been pleasantly surprised with kind of that. And to me, that's a partnership that I want to continue to involve myself and relate with. Sometimes there are technology platforms out there, both from a drone perspective or just proposal or just in general, that they stand on, I know better and I know what's best, and my technology is what is so. I would say that you're seeing some of those platform companies becoming obsolete. And I love the approach of Scanifly in that they're always open to hear kind of what could potentially make their platform better. And then not only do they hear that, but they actually implement that to answer kind of your concern. So yeah, I think I'm excited about Scanifly, and I think what they've done up to this point. And I think that as they continue to expand into different platforms outside of just, hey, design technology, proposal technology, I think that the industry as a whole will level up either through that information or as a requirement in order to compete with Scanifly. And so for that, I'm excited about just being accurate in general and the drive to provide kind of an outstanding service.
Chris, I really appreciate your comments. We had a very similar experience with Scanifly. We were using a competitor of theirs, and when we first got into drones, we were skeptical, and we double checked the accuracy and found it to be something that was really compelling. But our move to Scanify really came from what you said, just their want to do better, their want to develop a partnership. There's been numerous changes that we've asked for and feedback that we've given that they take to heart and implement, which is, it's one thing to take the feedback, but to actually implement those changes is something that's great to see. So can't say enough about the Scanify team. They've really helped us improve our process, and they're always willing to listen, which is not something that you always get.
No, I agree on that. I think just having those different companies that you work for, that they want your feedback, they want to listen, and it's the implementation part that's key to show that they are going to be that true partner that really makes groups like Scanifly stand out. Dylan, we actually did have one question come in for you, where you had mentioned increasing from 15 PV plan sets to 30. How many PV designers do you have working right now? And then how many PV plan sets average design to complete pre-Scanifly versus post-Scanifly?
I believe we have 5 on the plan team. I'm not part of the engineering department anymore. And I was up until about 2 months ago. So we have, I'm trying to think, I know we have a revisions team. I don't know if there's only 1 or 2 on the revision side. And then if we don't have plans, the planning team helps with revisions. And I believe we have 4 or 5 on the planning side. I'd have to double check. I'd have to look at our org chart to double check. Beforehand, there was a couple changes that happened kind of simultaneously besides just the Scanifly was kind of 2 things at once. But I would say before that, I know it was taking a couple hours in some cases. We put like APN numbers and a lot of other information on our plans depending upon what market we're in order to speed the permitting process. And when Illinois and in Pennsylvania can be 2 of very difficult markets to say the least. Pennsylvania, with a lot of our AHJs, they don't even allow you to use a portal. You have to physically mail the permit to the customer, and the customer has to take it in, like, to get a permit. It's insane. So there's a lot of extra information that we put on there. So some of those markets, it was taking almost 2 to 3 hours to do a set of plans. So I'd have to really dive in. I just know our average was like 35 minutes or 15 plan sets to 35 plan sets. I remember that distinctly, those 2 numbers. Sorry, I would have to go in and actually pull some more data, but I would be willing to do that if we had more time and different time.
Yeah, Nicole, I can kind of weigh in from our perspective, right? I would say if we were just doing apples to apples, PV to PV, I would say that at least our company's been able to increase by about 60 to 70% pre-Scanifly versus post-Scanifly. I would say that, in looking at it, right, that I'd say the biggest kind of win out of it is also just the factor that doesn't exist, which is the accuracy, right? So how many times am I actually having to do this design is also another cost factor. So it's not only the front end increase in production, but it's also how many times am I going to have to revisit that plan set? And we've actually seen that our accuracy rate has gone up by about 15% just out of the gate, which reduced kind of the revision or the rework, right? So I would say not only are you going to see a return on the front end about just increased production, but you're also going to see an accuracy increase, which will reduce kind of your rejection rate at the township, drive down your installation time frame. But it's also going to drive down your cost of your overall design team, or potentially the need for as many people, because you're not going to have to be doing things 2 and 3 times, potentially revisiting, oh, well, man, my site assessor told me this, and oh shoot, let me go back out there, or hey, I'm actually going to have to manually input and create this DXF file from scratch when this 3D model has already done that, right? So I think it's a multi kind of prong win that allows you to kind of reap the benefits of Scanifly.
Yeah, I guess what I could touch on, you just refresh some memories of what we were dealing with, was when you're drawing out manually drawing out a layout of your vent pipes or whatever that may be. And if your site survey tech just happened to put the measurement going the wrong direction or something, that was something that really was a pain in the beginning. And the drone using Scanifly eliminated that. Like, we don't have obstructions measured the wrong, north versus south, east versus west. So definitely only see that one time. I'll definitely agree with you on that one, Chris. That helps.
Yeah, just to kind of follow up on those comments, we've seen it's very rare that we revise the plan set after install based on something not being there that we weren't aware about. When I was installing, you almost get used to crumpling up the plan set and, kind of throwing it in the trash because there's vent pipes there, there's trees here, there's things kind of in the way. And using Scanifly, it's very rare that we're having our guys having to make adjustments day of installation because the array doesn't fit or we're unaware of an obstruction.
No, and I think that's all huge. And I think it all kind of falls into play with these little changes can affect reps commission. So it just goes into show that using that correct technology and making sure that you're really aligned with that like-minded installer that has that quality, it is also going to protect your commission and make sure that you're not having to really run into any of those changes that can affect that. But that closed out our webinar today. For any of the panelists that you wish to connect with, we'll send out a follow-up email, and then you could always go on to Scanifly's LinkedIn and you'll see a link to all of our different profiles. But we thank everybody for joining today, and then all of our panelists as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.